See a special good Monday morning to our listeners of Classic Radio. Also, to those of you viewing via GBN TV, good morning. Let's say good morning to our social media. Of course, listeners and viewers are there around the world. Good morning to you. Hope all is well with you. Thanks for being with us. It's To The Point. I'm your host, GT, and I'll be you until it's at 10 a.m. this morning. Once again, welcome. Let me say good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Of course, joining me this morning as usual. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning to you, GT. I am fine.
Yeah. Simple, fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. You know, they always put that little more on it and say, hope you're not fine to be blown away, right?
Yeah, that too. Like the asham, you know asham?
Yeah, that's fine that it could be blown away.
You know what is asham?
Yes, I know what is asham.
Have you had asham recently?
I haven't had recently.
Do you know when is the season for asham?
Yes, it's usually around the, I hope I'm right about it, but I know it's usually around the, what do we call it? What do you call it?
The Halloween
what we calling Grenada?
The November when they do the All Saints.
All Saints, yes. I know
that's following the August period when you have the corn that would have come through. So you have the dry corn from August, September.
So usually for All Saints, folks always a week or two before All Saints, folks get into the asham and stuff that leads up to that.
Yeah. So there's All Saints and All Souls.
All Souls. I think All Souls is the day after All Saints. Something of the sort. I hope
not all souls are saints.
That's another conversation there, sir. That's another conversation there. So tell me, how's everything? Of course, how was your weekend for you?
Yeah, man, good.
For starts?
Yeah. Let me take this opportunity again, GT, to thank GBN for this platform.
Yeah.
And again, to thank our ardent viewers, listeners, followers, contributors to the program. My special friends at Glen, all good morning, Finance Department.
All right.
Mr. Archibald, good morning to you. Very pleasant good morning to you. And for retired police officers and those that we seem to have a really good audience from, they call me from time to time to comment on the quality of the program and how good I see some people leaving what they do at times now, GT, and they say on Monday mornings I have to be listening to
that'll listen what we have.
That's encouraging.
That's good.
So I had a good weekend, and it was not as engaging as most weekends. It was a little bit more relaxing for me. But I still had the time to do some good reflections on some things, introspections and all of that. And to look at how we can continue to build on the program and look for the insights in terms of what we should do to continue to mean something to Grenada.
All right. Yeah. Well, for me, my weekend, a little hectic one for me. I've been into the Grand Tang area for a wee bit.
As usual.
Taking care of some installations up there, so I've been up there for the entire weekend. Saturday and Sunday being up there. So it's a bit engaging for me on that level.
Yes.
You understand? I still have to go back today for the conclusion part of it. So after finishing up here later on this evening, I had to go back up and get things finalized.
Yeah, and despite being a little bit tranquil the past week and weekend too, I still had the opportunity. We had some rain during the period of time, and that's good for farming.
We did.
We enjoyed it. As farmers, we enjoyed that. And someone who's also loved nature, I still had the opportunity to bathe at least once in the river.
All right, good.
Yeah, man. So that
Saturday, I got a little thrown off on Saturday in the Grand Tang area with the rain also.
Right.
You know, it slows you down from time to time. It slows you down because sometimes we do have to do some climbing. And, you know, when the rain falling, you can't do it. So we lost about an hour or two with the rain. It would stop. The sun will come out nice. You know how the rain and sun in Grenada correlates with each other?
Yes. Yeah, rain and sun, the children to say, John be married.
Yeah.
You heard that too?
I heard of that.
Rain and
when
sun,
I was a youngster, that used to be a conversation a lot.
Yeah, they say the sun and the rain, the battling and so forth.
Getting married.
I also like to hear
those old saying. So you chew me off for an hour or two, then the sun come out and you think all is well, and then it just starts back again, and then the sun will come out. So it was like that for a wee bit, but was able to get some accomplished. So there's been lots happening, road work per se.
Yes. And we like to give the flowers, right?
Yeah, there's a lot happening in terms of the road work.
So I hope you're looking for the flowers to give as well, right? I think the two of us, we kind of make the program balanced.
Yeah.
We identify the issues, we give the flowers, and we give recommendations where they really do. So I'm always looking for the positive thing, because I think it is all about development.
You know, I threw that out last Friday on my program also. You know, we always take the calls that would come in, and we always get the negatives.
Right.
You know, there's always something, well, I don't like that in my community, I don't like that, or this is happening, or the government this, or someone this.
Right.
So I was asking, is there anything of a positive nature happening in your community from time to time?
Right.
Something you would like to, show some commendation for it, and saying, hey, this is happening, and I'm happy to see that. But sometimes you don't get those calls for various reasons. You know why? Why no one ever calls and say something positive is happening?
Yes.
So I asked myself, is there nothing positive happening in your community or not that you would like to speak about?
But people find what you want to find. You would if you look for the negative, you'll find them a lot. And if you are an open person, you'll find both the negative and the positive. And when you find the negative, you'll find a way of making recommendations of how to correct.
Or you give it more presence, as if someone could say, you give the negatives more presence. Sometimes I just like to hear positive things happening. Yeah. It cannot change your mood about the overall way of things happening when you hear things of a positive nature happening. That everything is always something negative that is thrown out all the time. Just it was just my take on it.
And so there's a general saying that bad is easier to do than good, and also people tend to believe that the negative is easier to be amplified more than the good.
So true.
And some people, I think, the human nature create all these balance, especially when you have all of those political tribalism and all these taking place, when people want to rival one party against the other, or one person want to make one administration look better than the other and all that. You find these things happening. But I think as human beings, I mean, it's the nature of the beast technically. Human beings are that. So if all of the earth who are angels, they would not have been need for police officers.
Yeah, so true. Imagine if everything was always good. I mean, what would the world be like? Ever put that into focus and said, if there was nothing of a negative nature happening, no one is wanting to hurt another person. Yes. Everybody's living in peace and tranquility.
It'd be a boring place.
You think?
A lot of people would have been unemployed. So the thing about life, we have to learn to coexist with what's there, what God created for us. And while we understand that there will be good and evil, our aspiration and leading should always be to be doing good. Yeah. And if that's the focus, we'll have more good than evil. Even if the reality, there will always be negative and there will always be bad things. But you always have to, especially when you're growing your child, you never want your child to be one of those
bad boys or disciplined girls.
Every person, in my opinion, wants to hear good about their child. Every person who sends their child to school wants to ensure that your child is doing good. When you hear people say, "Oh, my child came this, my grade percentage is X, Y, and Z," you feel good about it. When you look at it and you said, "Oh, you feel kind of inside."
But that's you're right. Have you ever heard a parent talking about my child may have repeated his form, or maybe my child is not performing?
They don't want to talk about that.
You never hear that conversation from a parent.
No. Even if they sometimes it's like, but if the child does something well, my child came first. Yeah. Or my child is doing good in sports. I saw one of my good friends.
GT's performing well.
One of my good friends, she put up her little girl. Not even quite an outstanding athlete, I believe, but she just had this little child warming up. She said, "Look at my athlete warming up." I mean, the child is just competing at the little primary school games.
And supposedly she was not performing at that level. You probably wouldn't hear that. You wouldn't hear that conversation.
But it's good when people can amplify, they can speak about their children in a positive light. And children have to understand, too. It's a psychological thing that when you speak positive, you can get positive results. I mean, if you always clamoring the negative down to the children, otherwise, they would probably just put themselves in a shed and think, well, I am no good. I can do better.
But even if they're not performing up to par, but there's still always that word of encouragement.
Yes, you have to tell them that you're not doing
word
good.
of encouragement. I
you
don't like how you're performing, but I know you could do better if you apply yourself more. I've always been told that by my parents always. Yes. I know you could perform. I know you could do better.
Yes.
And it encourages you. I do that to my sons all the time too. I tell them, I know you can do better, and sometimes you see that difference start being applied.
And when they're doing good, you have to teach them not to wear big heads on their small bodies. And if your child is at the top of the class, it's not too difficult for the child to become swell-headed, complacent, and drop down. So when your child is up there, when your child is doing good or bad, you have to still give them the level of encouragement. You have to find that balance.
Yeah, encourage them to continue.
To continue doing what they do and know that the other people they're coming for you too.
Exactly.
They want to be good.
You know, sometimes you tend to give them, shower them with gifts when they perform well. I don't say you shouldn't, but it's not always the thing that you do every time.
And you have to be mindful.
It becomes an expectation every time. You understand? And then you may not be able to provide it one day.
Yes.
And then you will see there's a whole change of attitude that comes around. It may cause them to stop performing well. I ain't getting nothing against the way I shouldn't perform well. You understand?
And it's a good note that you hit, because it happened, and you create that culture from home that you are working towards a reward that is tangible. But what we want to do, culture and create the mindset. I say to people in the work environment, allow your work to speak for itself. Your performance. You come in and say, well, I have not been promoted, I'm not getting anywhere otherwise. Oh, let your work speak. When you came into work, you did not apply to be a supervisor. No. You applied to be a worker. And by nature of your performance, you excel. You'll be identified to go the next level up.
I like the way Sylvan is doing this, so I think Sylvan should go to the next level. GT should go to the next level because of his performance.
Because if you're working and you're doing all, regardless of what, to get to the next level, you will not get to that other level. And when you get there, the others underneath you, they will undermine you otherwise, and you will become useless to yourself. But that's a lot, GT, in terms of outside of the realm of what you're going to. But the general conversation is really good.
Yes. Really good. I mean, sometimes it's just that slight detour. It was not for a bad reason or bad reasons at all.
And having said so, over the weekend, within the last week, we were looking for a little bit of flowers that we should give.
Yes.
And this morning, I want to give some flowers to. You remember that place in Bolio Snow Corner where we spoke about vehicles parking on that side there all the time? There's a garage somewhere on that side. Vehicles are parking on that side all the time.
Yes.
Have you driven there recently and seen that it has almost become non-existent? If you pass there once in a while, maybe you'll see a vehicle and it's very temporary.
Yeah.
What I want to do this morning is to really give comment.
Because I'm seeing now that they're building something.
They're building something
there. I've been back and forth for the weekend.
That's right.
I have taken notice of what you're talking about.
And that is really, really, really a blessing in disguise, because we spoke about it. It was only a matter of time before a very serious accident was going to happen around that place. And it was so distressing for people coming through that they have to. There's barbecue going on lower down. There is the garage and the parking on that side of the road.
Yes,
and sometimes the guys
hangout spot there.
A hangout spot. And even repairs were taking place right on the road.
On the main road.
But now I can tell you, kudos, whether it was the authority who stepped in and spoke to the gentleman or otherwise, or he himself, by reason of us kind of pressing the issue, has decided, you know what, let me become a bit more civil. Let me take
take it off the road. Because I'm seeing most of the vehicles are parked on the inner part of the side of it now.
That's a plus.
So you're no longer causing that obstruction.
Yes.
Okay, you know that obstruction, especially with the corner you coming around, it was dangerous.
It's very, very.
And as you mentioned, it was just something waiting to happen. It may never happened as yet.
But there were a few accidents in that area.
Yeah. But something major could have happened there. Because sometimes trucks are coming around that corner and they're coming at a particular speed. Regular vehicle drivers are coming around at a particular speed, and you're coming. I have noticed what you're talking about a whole lot in terms of the obstruction there. And sometimes there are vehicles that would have parked there for weeks at a time. You know, either they are jacked up on rocks or whatever.
Imagine that. Yes, you're right. And work was being done on the road.
Yeah.
But to see that is now removed, trust me, it's a really blessing.
So that's
I really want to, if it's the authority, I want to commend you for doing that. And if it's the gentleman or people who are responsible for the garage, I still want to commend you, sir, for taking that initiative to make our lives more safe and more comfortable on the road. And we are still in that area. As you drive south from that area from the school, you know, I am from that area too, right? I was born in Bolio.
Okay.
You know that?
Okay. I don't know that. Just
my family, my mother and so on from that area. So I went to the Bolio RC school as my first primary school.
I see that.
Good. So that's my area as well. So as you drive lower down from the school gap, from the Spice Basket, you notice an activity there where the people are doing waternuts, cutting waternuts on the roadside and bottling it there?
Yes.
You think that that's the best thing that should happen? I don't think so. You don't have
never put the energy into thinking if it's good or bad, but let me hear your.
Yes, let me give you my take on it. And I think it's a serious concern. I've heard other people speak about it. While it seems okay, nice and cool that people can see you're cutting these waternuts fresh from the nut itself and gets into a bottle.
Yeah.
Health-wise, it is not the best practice. Pollutions, the exposure, the environment, the vehicles, the fume, the other things within there, it is not the best of practice. It is in my opinion, unsightly as well, to be cutting all these stuff right on the roadside, engaging that activities. You can see them pouring and putting into the bottles and so on. My humble opinion is
the conditions is unsanitary enough for
you put it stronger than I am doing. But I think it's a health concern when you think about how diseases, airborne and otherwise, vector-borne and otherwise, because they deal with water and all that, can be transmitted. We think that there should be some health consideration given to that activities. I think that the place where you do these, where you cut the nuts and have them put into the bottle, the process should be in a more sanitized area, enclosed environment that make it better for all of us. Because when things are spread or otherwise, you wonder how they get from point A to Z. And when we speak about community health and all of that, and public health, those are some of the issues that we want to take a greater look into. So while gentlemen and whoever the activities, it is a really noble thing to get the organic product things straight from the field and get into the bottle. But we think that the process of getting it to members of the public, that need to be enhanced.
Location-wise, it's bad.
It's bad.
Location-wise. And I understand. It's just like how people may sometimes feel about folks who do their barbecue and stuff by the roadside. The vehicles are passing just, a couple feet away and stuff like that. The fumes and all these things from the vehicles, the dust on the road and all these things. That's a health concern.
Great. And the other one, well, I always have this thing about the Morris Bishop Highway and that area. And last week we spoke about physical fitness and the ability for people to be fit and maneuver on the streets. And to the south of the island and so on, there are a lot of people on early morning and evening, they do the streets and they do the beaches and so forth. And you understand the unfortunate incident that I had just about 2 years ago. And so people still express to me that they feel a sense of being unsafe when they jog along the road because vehicles are coming so close to them. The amenities, the facilities for them to exercise, it isn't happening. And we spoke about getting an overpass on the Morris Bishop Highway.
What's the latest on that, Mr.
I don't know. We had something on it recently. They said the drawings were being created and they're going to do that. And we still believe that on that road, on the left side going towards the airport, there should be sidewalks. And the sidewalks, in some cases, you can do rails to keep people from veering off into the motorway.
Okay.
But now speaking on the dusty highway, to facilitate activities, I think it was around the CARICOM time in August when they try to make facilities better on that opposite side, the dusty highway, and they remove the humps.
Yes.
People are using that road a bit more now. They are beginning to speed on that road a bit more now. But when you look at the ambience and the health factor on that road as well, I am thinking that could have been a good alternative for people. The busiest street would be the Morris Bishop Highway itself.
Yes.
So then the dusty highway would have less traffic. So I would think that joggers and the road users, the fast walkers, they can use that road more
for the jogging.
For the jogging and so forth, especially early in the morning. But it is really unsightly to see on that road. There are sometimes the roadside garages, and maybe there are garages on the inside, not so much on the roadside. But there are about 6 or 8 of these small, I think about 200-gallon tanks, the white ones with the rail on them. And maybe oil.
Yeah.
Maybe oil change from vehicles or otherwise are in those containers. And you know what? Some of them are leaking onto the walkways and onto the side of the road. It is unsightly. 2, it is unfriendly and not environmentally sound. And we think that the aesthetics in that area need to be enhanced a bit more, and these things should be removed. And I wish the authority would look into that. People, if you want to walk or jog in that area, you want to be able to inhale fresh air. And if you're going to be using that area as workplace or otherwise, the aspect of the health issue must also be considered. So I am thinking here, my recommendation would be that they find a different and better way to dispose of those fuel, that liquid, the oils that are being placed there, it's not the place to put them, and they should find alternative locations to get these and have a safer way, maybe a recycling process where these things are brought into.
Are there options where, of course, for disposals, especially for garages and stuff, who store these, use oil and stuff? Is there a process in Grenada where these are disposed of? Is there any company that's responsible, or any particular ministry or so that's responsible for the disposal of these things?
To be confirmed further, I was doing research of the waste disposal in Grenada, including fuel, and my understanding that there is something in process.
Okay.
There is at least one gentleman who is also doing sometime, I think, used fuel oils from vehicles and from kitchen, and he's converting that into some diesel fuel that could be recycled into vehicles and so forth. I know, having spoken to Solid Waste Management Authority, that there is some intent to have that process locked down, but I know the ministry has some way of recommended ways where these oils, they are brought into containers and taken to some site, other place, but they do have designated area where you can bring it. I'm not too sure exactly how I can guide people to that. Maybe Solid Waste could speak about that, or Health and the Environment, they can speak about that. But I think it's something that people need to know, because there are a lot of people, especially the fast food places, that are using the oils. They have to change the oils from the kitchen ever so often in gallons. And where are these oils being disposed of? How can they be used to be recycled into other things and so forth? It is something I'm sure that has been raised and spoken of, but it's something I think more people need to understand in terms of that. So I thought I need to have given those flowers and to raise those concerns, and so we can have some action driven in that direction.
All right. So, Mike, we're due for a break. Let's take our first break in the segment, and when we come back, we have much more. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back.
Need a little cash to hold you over till payday?
Grenada is indeed beautiful and worth exploring. We firmly believe that you should be allowed to do so. Why not explore Grenada with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours? Whether you decide to explore Grenada with your family, spouse, or large group of friends, we are ready to welcome you. Our tours are guaranteed to leave you with wonderful memories of Grenada if you are visiting, and excitement if you live here. Book a tour with us now by visiting our website www.jamessvcs.com. Call 1473-442-3769 or email info@jamessvcs.com. James Services Corp Off-Road Tours.
I am Dennis James Williams, owner and director of James Services Corp. Looking forward to welcoming you to the beautiful island of Glen to explore with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours. See you soon.
Explore our beautiful island of Grenada from an angle that is unique and off-road, but equally fun. We are 100% family-friendly tours.
Classic Lighting Caribbean presents Everything Solar and LED, a classic trade show, January 31st to February 2nd, Grenada Trade Center, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come experience solar energy at its best through our range of solar-powered products, including solar multicolored floodlights, solar vision floodlights, all-in-one street lights, 3,000 watts portable hybrid generators, solar portable power packs, 48-volt batteries, and 6.3 kilowatt inverters, and more. And introducing our newest solar air condition units. Lower your energy cost with our range of solar products. Be part of Everything Solar and LED Trade Show, January 31st to February 2nd, Grenada Trade Center, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Classic Lighting Caribbean, lighting up our lives.
Welcome back. Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers, Classic Radio GBN TV. It's To The Point, and of course, myself and Mr. Sylvan McIntyre with you once again back on the program. So let's change the conversation right about in this time. There's always that issue that relates to, when you want to identify safety concerns. Yeah. Especially for homes and so forth. Right. We want to dive into that a wee bit because, some of the recommendation that you may want to put out. Yeah. Especially for homeowners in terms of making sure that the environment that they're in, the safety concerns as relates to it, could also come as close as the individuals who live close to roads and stuff like that. Yeah, of course. Of course. So let's hear your take on that.
Okay, good. So one of the persons we wanted to give some flowers to would have been the RGPF. Yes. Coming from the Christmas season as well, the fantastic job they did. We are still looking for the statistics on the road traffic and so forth. Yeah. We have our hands close to our chest to ensure that we are reducing and we are increasing the safety factors on our streets. And so they did a fine job, fantastic. And I want to really commend them again for this initiative. I saw over the weekend as well a clip where ACP Vanny Coyen was speaking about
the new facilities.
The new facilities, commendable.
Yes.
And he did speak about the enabling environment for officers to function. Now that they're getting what we now can consider a permanent home, we are hoping that the ambience that makes it more conducive for them to produce, that the officers will find more time and resources towards road safety. Because we did speak about it in times past that people tend to function where their minds are, your levels of comfort and the quality. And we remember we spoke about the quality of vehicles that they drove as well and how they were looking on the streets. And we did see that was enhanced. They have a new fleet of vehicles and they're having a new facility for headquarters and everything else. We hope that reflects in the output from the police officers and they do not police by avoidance. Yes. A lot of times some of them avoid issues on the streets, and so that they would also exercise a bit more tolerance with people, a bit more civil, and give people some more time to resolve issues and offenses. That becomes that civil part where there's a partnership between police and public. So RGPF, congratulations. The authority responsible for ensuring that your facilities are enhanced and you have what it is to function properly. Commendable, congratulations.
I will also give them that little flowers too for the implementation of the community policing. And I've been noticing them going to various communities and speaking to the folks. It brings a sense of comfort for residents. Yes. You understand? And I just hope it continues and they do more of it. You understand?
And now they're on the water.
And on the water.
They're speaking now, but the Coast Guard, they're up in the forefront now. They're speaking about that collaboration between people from the Coast Guard. We were not hearing a lot from them. And we wished, again, more of the entities within the RGPF, they can come forth in public, maybe on your forum, to be able to speak of their levels of responsibility and how they themselves form a part with our societal structure and what they do, even the Special Services Unit, the SSU and so on. Sometimes people see you in this light. People need to understand a bit more of what you do, how you function, how they see you, or whatever it is, and you gain more respect. I think when we are able to convince people that law enforcement is for the people and not against the people, you would get more collaboration.
And I also want to wish they, in terms of the timing factor. Yes. I understand you may want to do it during the course of the day like now, but how many individuals are home
would be listening
to that? I would recommend maybe afternoon time or evening time. It may be late, but what I'm saying, it could be a time of showing your presence. Yes. Individual at home, you get more people to talk to. Weekends.
Yes.
Instead of you going to go there 9, 10 in the morning or 10, 11 when less people are home, and you understand. I understand the time factor, but these are the things could be just put into consideration to get more, of course, of that feedback from individuals within the community.
And I did not use the official airwaves formally to congratulate Commissioner Cannot on his appointment, and I want to take this. He was one of my students coming through in the early 1990s as a recruiter and so forth, and I'm elated to see that he has elevated himself to the highest level. Congratulations. We'll hear a lot more because I would be part of the commentary team for Independence as well. Okay. I'm sure he'll be the person on the podium, and we'll be given, a little citation on the background of some of these people and so forth. So we want to congratulate him from our general standpoint. And I really angled into that direction, because when we're speaking about home safety, we also can speak about home security, and that's where the RGPF comes in. So I wanted to give that angle and put that link and that connection, that they both, the safety and security, they interlink. And so I will not be speaking so much on the security aspect of it, but I will be speaking on the environmental safety factors that can affect homes in a negative way that people should be aware of. And speaking about the environment, I want to make special mention in terms of what, now that we are experiencing a bit of rain. We had an extreme dry spell last year, and we are now coming out slightly out of that rainy season, and we get a bit of rain still, but we're going to go into the dry season, and then we're going to go into the planting season. The angle that I want to take this morning in terms of that home environmental consciousness is that there are plants and trees that can give negative effects on facilities, including homes. And it is important, and we're hoping that agriculture and forestry will expand on this conversation, that people will be more advised as to what to plant where and where. Yeah. I've seen within the last couple of months, as the dry season and the natural hazards like hurricanes and storms expose some things, you will see that there are some practices that could be done differently. For instance, the planting of some fruit and other type trees for shades and otherwise that people tend to have in particular places on the island. There are some trees that are best planted, and they would be best in a productive way at particular altitudes and places on the island, and a lot of people need to know that. But the angle that I want to take in terms of that kind of safety is that the effects that those trees can have on the facility. One, there are some, we have fibrous roots, we have tap roots, and we have the other that goes into the soil and goes into the surface, and the distance they can move from where they are planted. So let's take, for instance, I'll mention a couple of trees. Coconuts, palms, what you call the skin up or the guinea trees, breadfruit, breadnut trees, and mauby trees. Mm-hmm. Those are some of the trees that, when planted in particular area, their roots will travel distances away from where they are planted, and over time, what they would do, they would change the ground surface and the foundation of these structures. So you may plant a breadfruit tree 20 or 30 meters away from your house. Yeah. And over 5 or 10 years, that breadfruit tree would send roots that would move 10 to 15 or more meters away from where it is planted. Now, what these roots would do, it would send a shoot or another plant up where the roots travel. So, for instance, if a breadfruit tree goes this distance, it would shoot up somewhere along the line another breadfruit tree along the root. And so when sometimes people want to transplant, they would cut the root in a particular area, and they can get on either side, and you'll get another breadfruit tree on. Now, this root gets in onto your structure, your concrete foundation. What that is going to do is going to crack the foundation. And in some places, even in your yard, a breadfruit tree would emerge. Similar with that of the skin up. If you have a skin up tree that is planted, again, 15 or 20 feet or meters away from your house, over time, within almost that given time of years, that skin up tree would send roots, and the roots do not go down, but they grow up and across and away. Okay. So as they expand and they grow up, what they are going to do, they are going to send cracks into your facility. In addition to your own building, your structures where they're going to crack and send up shoots, what they're going to do, they're going to also allow the soil and that area to become more porous. In that, water will seep into those areas, and it can undermine the structure, and you can have movement of that structure, and later on you can have it being collapsed. But in most of our places around the island, you have to the disposal of sewage. Yeah. And we do have what is in most common the soak away system with a septic tank. So you build a septic tank and you have a soak-away system. If you plant coconut trees, palm trees, and so on, that is also close to that area, what those roots do, they bind the soil together. So they're going to clog the soak-away system, and so over time, they will not be able to filter the sewage or what comes through from your septic tank. In addition, those roots will travel as well, and they would make their way through the finest of cracks through your septic tank. What that would do, it will cause the moisture from your septic tank to seep into the soil and not go into the soak-away system. What that will do over time just as well, the feces and the soil that comes down through your system, it will start building into your septic tank. Eventually, it's going to clog it. Similar, if you have, as I mentioned, the mauby trees. Mauby is, again, among one of the most dangerous. It grows very well in low-lying areas, but the roots move so fast and so far, and it sends up shoots so quickly that if you're not careful, they will be all over your property. And sooner rather than later, they're going to find their way into those cracks, into those places, in places that you really don't want them, and eventually it will create a negative impact. Is going to affect the integrity of the structure. So I decided to take this angle because there are a lot of people who are building houses. There are people now who are building back. There are now people who are planting back after the effects of the hurricane that we experienced in July. So what's going to happen is that these people need to understand there are some fruit trees that are okay, your orange, your mandarin, your mangoes, etc. They do have less effect on the structures than some of those that I mentioned. And if you want definite specific guidance as to what you should plant where, it is a good thing to consult the Forestry Division, the Ministry of Agriculture, or engineers who have those understanding as to what is best in particular areas. They would advise us some of these things. But people would build their houses and they would just think, well, you know what, man, I just need to have some trees around my house.
So, I mean, there are folks who are happy to have trees around their house.
For shades and other things.
For shades, for purposes and so forth.
And not mindful of the long-term effect on those. So your $250,000 home will be downgraded and deteriorated after a couple of years if you decide to have some of these plants that have those kinds of fruit that will make their way and get themselves into your structure.
You know, so sometimes you may say, well, I met the trees there. So you decide you want to leave it, but sometimes you have to understand the integrity of your property now will be compromised after a period of time.
Yes. And the other angle to all of this is your neighbor.
Yeah.
And legally, again, from planning and development, they would tell you what distance from your boundaries that you should plant stuff, and they should again be advising as to what you can. And a lot of people plant some trees, palms, coconut, other trees, and they encroach on other people's property. Now, the law makes provision for someone on the opposite side if you have a tree or plant that is encroaching. As far as you can take it from your side of the property, it is legal to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to step over into somebody's property, you are trespassing.
Especially some of the plants of you that you spoke about a while ago.
That's right. So you also have to be mindful and not be selfish about what you want to do, but to be considerate for your neighbor as well.
All right. How do individuals deal with that in particular, if especially the encroaching plant into your property, or you wanted the plant, not speaking to your neighbor about it, if the neighbor decided, well, I'm going to take some action against you doing that. How do individuals deal with that?
Well, there are a couple ways that one can deal with it. From a disaster risk management point of view, the national structure that is responsible for risk observation, identification, and advice, the National Disaster Management Agency, there are structures which include ours that make and should make provision for what they call risk inspectors, environmental hazard inspectors. And they should be able to identify these things and say, this is a hazard to somebody else's property or to your own. There may be a coconut tree that is hanging over somebody's, and they would be hoping that the next high wind that it doesn't drop or something doesn't come. There might be a huge tree perched on a hill that is over some, and you would speak to the neighbor about it and they do not want to remove it. I've had a number of calls on that.
But do locals or Grenadians in general, do we put these inspectors into the use that we should be used?
Unfortunately, no. Because I have to commend I think there was a Mr. Batiste and so on. I know one time from Ministry of Agriculture and in places I know, and Mr. Jeremiah, whom I related to quite a bit when I was in the agency, that when people would raise issues about the hurricane seasons coming and their trees and other things, we would advise them to speak to NADMA. NADMA would get somebody with the Ministry of Agriculture, and they would go out and look at it, they would inspect it, and sometimes they would have provided some assistance, guidance, recommendation as to how they can correct it. And they would encourage neighbors to engage in that conversation. And if they needed technical assistance in terms of how to cut it otherwise, they would provide the advice. And sometimes they would have gotten the chainsaw user guys to help them get them down. But where they are resistant people who are not very compliant, the matter has to be taken to the court. And the court will make a decision then as to how that should be corrected.
A concern I have, Mr. McIntyre, maybe you could share your knowledge in relation to that. Sometimes individuals, we talk about trees that could compromise your property and so forth.
Yeah.
And individual may just come up with a gun, maybe I should just cut it down. Is that always a good practice?
To just cut a tree down?
Cut a tree down.
No.
Knowing that the roots may compromise your property, but then knowing the deterioration of the root could cause compromise of your property.
Well, we could expand that to even what's going on with some of the tree cutting and the bushing structures across the island as well.
Yeah.
And you may have heard people call on the program and speak about it and said that needs soil engineering and topographic engineering type people to guide us to how to do these things and which trees should move and how they should be moved. Some trees you want to cut them in a way so that they would stay alive for a longer period of time and not overhang.
Yeah.
But the roots will still be embedded and there would be some life that would keep the land together for some time. And there are others that should not be removed. So it should not be an indiscriminate or just a random moving of trees anywhere at all. It's not advised. And some trees are best left and others, they are best taken down at a particular time. So in all of this, it requires some level of consultation and some technical advice in terms of how to handle it. But the aspects that I've given in terms of those regular planting and what the roots can do to structures, those are sometimes layman agricultural knowledge that one would find, and homeowners sometimes need to know that, because they may just want to be able to just do something because it look good and they think I am just doing that because I want to do it.
I want to be treating my yard.
And that's
some folks who think of it in that particular way. I have a breadfruit fruit in my yard, not knowing the issues that could come about in a couple of years from now.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So back we do for a break. Let's take that break when we come back. We certainly would like to invite our listeners and viewers in the next segment. If you do have a question or two as we continue the conversation here that you may like to ask, feel free to do so when we come back. Don't touch it out.
Ready for the ultimate culinary showdown. GBN presents Oil Down Fest. Oil Down Fest. Oil Down Fest 2025. Who will be crowned the Oil Down King or Queen? Compete to win in exciting categories like the most creative presentation and People's Choice. Mark your calendars. Saturday, February 1st, 2025. And join us in celebrating Grenada's 51st Independence Anniversary in style. Call or WhatsApp 473-407-8458 to register. Don't wait. Spots are filling up fast. This one-of-a-kind festival will feature electrifying music from Hot FM's top DJs, vibrant craft exhibition, and captivating performances by local artists. Don't miss the tastiest and most exciting event of the year, GBN's Oil Down Fest 2025. Saturday, February 1st.
The oil down, they look real good, enough.
Proudly supported by Flow. Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. We're going higher. 50 years we're blessed, we're forged in fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 up. Going up, going up, going up.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers this morning. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, myself and Mr. Sylvan McIntyre here. We've been talking a whole lot in the last segment. We spoke a wee bit about, the safety factors of having from your home around. We talk about the trees, the type that you should plant and so forth that would not compromise the integrity of your property and so forth. And I did mention, folks, if you do have a question or two you may like to ask, feel free to do that in this segment. Let's take our first caller. Caller, your life. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
You took good to be part of Grenada.
So Grenada really good things?
I don't know why they don't make you a man that's in charge of the environment in Grenada.
Okay.
Because you have all knowledge and skill about doing nearly or attacking nearly anything in Grenada. When I say attacking anything, I don't mean to say animal, but giving advice to any situation in Grenada. So then I would join you if you would, since I'm getting a fair amount of money. So I want Grenada, the government to empower you as an environmental man, the head of the environment in Grenada, so that we can make good achievement in Grenada. We're dealing with people as well as all part of the environment. Okay. So see if you get it work and I'll help you. Because we will be doing very, very well. You bring out some very, very important points, and you, the questioner,
yes.
I forgot how you call him, the invigilator who he is.
Yes.
I like you all.
Yeah,
when I say like, I don't mean this kind of like you're thinking of, I like the kind of program you all usually bring in. Thank you very much.
Good morning,
sir. So just to let you know as well that, in my opinion, life begins at retirement.
Yeah.
So employment is not always the way. I love to give my free contribution to Grenada and my advice to in any way I think I could. But I'm enjoying my retirement.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, your life. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Mr. McIntyre.
Good day, sir.
Mr. McIntyre, I would just love to say once again, kudos to you. Right, I'm learning a lot from you. However, I joined the program a bit late this morning. So I don't know if what I'm going to talk about is relating to what your topic is, but I don't know if over the weekend you saw a post on Facebook dealing with a young lady put up a post from Clark's Court Bay dealing with the road that was just redone, and heavy equipment operators passed machinery on it, and dug up the road.
I think I saw the post.
Yeah, and I think that this is a recurring problem. I see it all the time, even up by me here. They have a newly constructed concrete road. They just pass the equipment on it. I remember before, Mr. McIntyre, I'm sure you know that. You remember they used to track the machines?
Yes.
They would put the tires and they would track the machine, track it.
Yes.
The John Anglais Road is destroyed, it's all in part of machines just running on the concrete. And when you tell them about it, they say it's a concrete road. They're not doing anything to it. But the authorities need to do something about this.
You're right.
This is a problem. Look at Clark Scott. They just got the road done over. And look at the pictures the young lady put up on Facebook. They passed a crane or an excavator or something, and they dug up the road. And they're gone their way. So that is just one peeve I have this morning. So I'm going to leave you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. That's a great point there.
A really great point. A really good point. And that's what we want. Like that lady who did the post and this gentleman, eyes on the issues across Grenada. That's what we want, to be able to raise the issues. And it is pointing back, as we said, to the enforcers.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the vanguards and the persons who really going to take these up and ensure that an investigation is done. You find the people who deteriorate and damage our roads and our infrastructure and have them to be made responsible for the cost to get it redone. I
agree with you on that. Caller your life. Good morning.
Thank you very much, President. Good morning to you and to Mr. McIntyre, and I wish you all the very best. Mr. McIntyre, I've already said it to you, but sometimes it's good to reiterate the points. Well, yes, you seen some shocks. I'm so close to it.
You can turn it completely.
Yes, caller. Turn the radio or the television completely off, please.
All right. Okay. You with me now?
Yeah, we with you. Go right ahead, please.
Right, okay, good. Yeah, I was saying, I appreciate and I still want to compliment Mr. McIntyre on his job. I would still make two funny kind of comments, though. Too little, too late, or probably it's never too late for a shower of rain. So I hope you'll get the gist of what I'm saying here. Yes, you do. You have mentioned that you saw some results. You got some results because of the program and whatnot, etc. Yes, indeed. And I personally have probably experienced it just the same. But I would want to say that the truck drivers, these massive SL trucks and whatnot, etc. And the way they hold on their hand on the horn, this air horn, and it's affecting people, the senior citizens. And I think we must have a little more respect, And I have already suggested probably what should be done, but anyway, probably I'm too small of a person on the island here, I'm a 1-foot man in a wheelchair, but I just hope that, the idea, because, I hate to think much of it, I'm so irritant, the people passing with their vehicles, news time, with a loud noise, and I'm getting confused. I'm wondering if I probably should, I heard a man 2 weeks ago on a program talking about kill or be killed, because I'm wondering, the livestock owners take advantage, the thieves take advantage on me, everybody, and I find myself in a situation. I've been doing community work since I was a little child growing up. My aunt taught me how to clean in the road in front of the house I live, from boundary to boundary. Keep it clean. And if you pass in Pedmota here where I live, you see it's clean. It's clean.
All right, caller, but I understand your plight, but it's a lot of deviation from where our conversation is going this morning, so...
There are a few points I have to touch almost immediately. That's right. I only have a few seconds, minutes time to do so, so I have to touch all the different points, I want to say congratulations anyway to Mr. McIntyre, but I would still want to say maybe too little, too late, or it's never too late for a shower of rain.
Thank you, sir. Have a good morning. Thank you, sir.
That angle of being too late, I wouldn't understand it. I don't know where
I'm not sure the direction it's going.
I can't follow it. But what I would like to say, though, is that this gentleman, he doesn't just need to air these concerns publicly, but I think he needs some one-on-one intervention. I think our social construct should, she should visit him and have a sit-down conversation with him to help him, because you can see there are times
there are issues that he wants
he needs to be able to address, and they are relevant issues.
And I understand the medium has been offered, so he's taking advantage of it.
Yes,
but it's sometimes something that needs to kind of personal relationship to talk about.
I've spoken to some police officers about the issue related to the horns, but there are multiple issues that he has. He's immobile in lots of ways and so forth, and the irritation and the anger that could be coming out of him not getting the issues addressed could be more. So our social construct, our social workers and that thing, I think somebody should go to the gentleman, have a sit down and take his issues and address
see what remedies could come up for that.
Yeah.
Caller, your life. Good morning.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning.
Good morning to Superintendent McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
Farmer. Good morning. What I like to see, what I observed, thanks again, Sandal Tunnel was done the Sunday before the one, the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sign that there say it's 7 feet to go through there, but now I think it's about 5 feet, 7.5 inches to get through there. Because every time they keep overlaying.
Oh.
So the height, the distance between the bottom or the road to the top is less than every time.
All right.
Secondly, I like what you said. Look, the boardwalk to go up to the park. That's outside the gas station, or we call Griffith gas station there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody bongs that and mash up that rail in there, and nobody's paying for that. I mean, somebody had to pay.
Right.
Because, I mean, we can get taxpayers' money every time taxpayers' money go and fix it again, too. The police, the charging officer, when he goes to look at the accident and say, I charge you for damage to government property.
Absolutely.
And Brother McIntyre would agree with me on that, because I think he was advocating when he was in the police service. Have a good day.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's a good point there.
Good point.
We do have another caller via the WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, good morning, you're live. Caller via WhatsApp, good morning, and you're live. I think the WhatsApp caller may have he has muted or something of the sort, so sorry about that. Someone is saying, I guess they're asking the question, what about plum, tamarind, and soursop, probably in relation to the trees that you mentioned.
Right.
Someone is asking that question. Are those appropriate maybe to be planted around your home or the sort? Somebody is asking that question.
The root structure different in those. The plums themselves, they do not shoot up from the root, they shoot up from the stems. You cut it and then you plant them.
Okay.
And the root structure, they go a long way as well, so they do carry some risk with them, but it takes longer. They traverse differently than some of the other plants I mentioned.
Okay, great.
Even the soursop.
What's up, caller? We have you back once again. Good morning.
Morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go right ahead, please.
Mr. Sylvan and GT, congrats.
Thank you,
congrats. Sir. But Mr. Sylvan, I always say you are the voice in the wilderness. Look at the new Molyneux Road. What do you think about that road? Have you traversed there and see the parking, the water from the houses on top? I heard you talking about sewer and tree root and into the soil and so on. This is one of the latest things we see. Where is the Ministry of Planning? Where is the authority that passes up and down every day? So I don't know. Grenada need some serious people that will put things in place to curb the lawlessness and the slackness and the kind of a thing that is going on. You will talk to Mr. Sylvan, and when something happens, then you go see all kind of people running come with camera and no entry and warning sign and caution sign. It's there, it's visual. It is visual. You hear a man call about some big tree and the one Glen cut it. Glen is to provide electricity. People are having big dangerous trees in their property, non-fruitful trees. And when it come big, they don't want to cut it, you can't touch it. But when it become a problem to the public now, then they call it on Glen and they call it on the authority to cut it. Why the person don't hold them and make them responsible for the tree? And things like that. So we don't wait. There is a lot of things you could nip it in the bud and go ahead and do it before it gets too late. And that is our problem.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate your contribution.
I glean from this caller that he's saying that we need to be more proactive.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to enforce, I would call them environmental wardens or inspectors in that sense, with an enforcement mechanism. Because, there are people who go around, they see things and they have no teeth.
Yeah.
There's nothing, even if there are regulations and legislations to enforce some things, our enforcement mechanism is weak.
I agree. Because sometimes you wonder, are these folks who are responsible for these things? I sure, if we as regular citizens can see it and see that it's going to be posing a problem in time to come, and they don't say anything about it, don't report it back to their seniors and say we should do something about it. And then after a period of time when a problem develops, then you say, but it could have been taken care of 10 years ago.
That's correct. 15
years ago, not now. You understand?
I'm saying that we've done such a fantastic job, those who've gone on before us, to create those legislations and those instruments, those policies and tongue and planning and all of those codes and all that. They've done a tremendous job. There are little tweaking and adjustment to be done to those instruments. Grenada, we've done, especially even as a region, we do have a lot of instruments in place to guard our developmental processes and even our maintenance processes. They're there, but they're not being used. They are being used in a way, but you pull them down from the shelf, dust them off with those feathers, and then put them back. But the point is, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me, our enforcement mechanism is really weak. And I'm happy that I'm seeing in some sense there are measures that are taken in some quarters. I see that they're enforcing registration of business and to be tax compliant in a lot of ways and ensuring that people do pay their fair share. We're expecting to see the other enforcement mechanism across country where we can get a lot more resources and we can protect a lot more of our patronage. Patrimony.
The problem, I always say, things in this country are allowed to deteriorate to a too low a level before we try to fix it. And it's like you have bananas there and they spoil and you want to eat it. No, it's gone. So it's very difficult to use it now, or enforce whatever you're trying to do because it has deteriorated too much.
I didn't cut that tree earlier on, and the roots gone, and it break up that house, and you have to break it down. You said, if I
could have done that 20 years ago.
You have a skin up tree down in the gap, a few skin up people. You're not. Come on. There's one. I had a mango tree close by my house. I looked at it, the mangoes hanging one time, and I had my vehicle parked up, and I said, but you know what? If a mango fall on my windscreen, I don't know how much mango I could sell to replace a windscreen.
You're so true.
A couple of days after the mango fell and broke my windscreen.
See that? Let's take our final caller. Caller, your life. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, sir.
Especially to the previous caller, we lack the political will, because what happens is, because of votes, sometimes the politicians afraid to touch the issues, right? Because, for instance, if NDC gives that particular group or make a law passing for a particular group to benefit, when the next government comes, even if it's a bad ruling or bad decision, they can't take it away because they're going to lose votes. So unless we start educating the people politically, then we will
I don't agree with you. I understand the direction that you're going, but I don't agree with you. In terms of the political aspect of it that you're trying to push on it. I don't agree with you. You may not. I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with you in terms of how you bring it.
Not every area, right? Not every area, but I have seen it. And if look at, for instance,
we just say whatever we're speaking about, politics has nothing to do with it. I wonder if you get where I'm coming from.
But remember, it's the politicians that make the rules. They pass the laws. So we should be able to have some input in it. Also, not just just give passing on laws. Look at what happened in America lately. And you can see people need to pay attention.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you. I appreciate your contribution as well.
Sir.
Appreciate your contribution too. So, Mac, it's about time for us to take a wrap this morning.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to get political, right? We don't want to get political right now. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning, sir?
I just want to advise our followers, listeners, viewers, as we again face the uncertainties of seasons and so forth, as we drive on our road spaces where we do not know who we are, what we're going to encounter. The advice is to be vigilant, to be conscious, and for those of you who are building, be conscious of what you put next to your homes, looking at the long-term effect. And for those of you who are already built and have things wrong, you may want to do an inspection in terms of where these are leading and what effects they are likely to have. But safety first, second, third.
Mr. McIntyre, I want to thank you. Fruitful conversation as always this morning, and certainly we will have another one of this nature next week once the Almighty provides the necessaries, health, strength, and everything. In between, we will be back to do this again.
And my son's birthday is tomorrow. My second son, Ali.
All right.
We're gonna say the airwave, Ali, happy birthday to you and God's blessing.
So like every week you come up something to do.
You understand, man? I'm a family-oriented person. Very.
Once again, to our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Those of you calling contributed. We had some comments comments via the Facebook, comments via the WhatsApp. Thank you a whole lot. Those I didn't get to read, my apology once again. So until next week, have a good one, folks. But I will be back with you tomorrow for another edition of To The Point. Join me then. Have a good one. So we say goodbye.